Hello everyone. If you are looking to finally start that apparel company, that t-shirt line that you've been thinking about, then look no further. I'm going to be laying out for you 4 different strategies as well as a bonus 5th one that I know a little bit about. And most of these I have used myself over the past decade, some of which I've just seen other creatives and artists use that they really love and implement. And I'm going to lay out exactly what they are, what are the pros and cons of, and then we're going to go through a bunch of different categories basically. So based on how much money that you can invest, what based on the circumstances and the space that you have, how hands-on and off you want to be, all of these things we're going to touch base on, okay? So get your notebooks ready because honestly, this is going to be a lot of information and you want to learn more and you have more questions, just drop a comment below. I can also do videos extended off of this if we want to dive a little bit deeper into any of these avenues. I will say this is a great beginner video, whether this is going to be a big or small means of income for you. So this could be like a little side hustle, you're just looking to like dip your toe in and start something new, or this is for the people that really have a massive vision and want to take a big leap of faith. So I have been doing different forms of apparel creation, mostly t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, stuff like that for about a decade. I started in the tattoo industry 10 years ago and I started creating just like basic t-shirts, around my shop. I would use local suppliers and printers in order to create this apparel and people always love them. It was a fun, creative way to get my stuff out there in a different avenue. So I then started looking into printing things myself and researching that a bit and the different options that there are with that. Eventually got into dropshipping, which is really the basis of what I do now. I lived in an RV for a while. I've moved around the country. So dropshipping was just an easy way to continue to produce and offer things to my customer base without having to have this massive inventory or space in my home or wherever I might have been to do so. So there's really a lot of options. I'm going to be going over 3 in depth. There's a 4th one I know a bit about from other creators that I highly would recommend looking into. And then the 5th I know a bit about, but I have not explored because it's really kind of next level. And if you're looking to go really big, or if you've grown quite a bit and you're ready to take that next leap. So let's get into them all. So the very first method that we can use, I'm going to list them all out first, is going to be print on demand and drop shipping. This is essentially where you create a design or you pay for a design that somebody else has created, and then you upload it on a third-party platform, and you have this company print, ship, package all of these orders for you. So this is going to be the least hands-on, not necessarily the highest profit margin, but the least hands-on. Then we're going to be having printing ourselves, and there's so many different methods for this. We're going to get into all of them. It really depends on what you're looking for, how much money you want to invest, what you envision for your clothing brand, right? Then there is outsourcing to a local printer. I actually love this option. That's a great thing about all these different modes of creation, of supplying, and creating a brand. You can use multiple of these at once, right? It's good to kind of focus on one at a time and master it. If you're new to it, it gets a little overwhelming if you're kind of dipping your toes into a bunch of different methods. So you can, totally explore and print and create the products on your own if you have the space and materials to do so. And that allows for a lot of the profit to stay with you. And then the 4th one really is going to be using a platform such as threadless. This is not one I have personally done, but I know a lot of people who love going this route. So essentially with something like threadless, you're not even necessarily going to need your own website, but you're going to go and sign up for these platforms. You're going to upload your artwork, and then you're going to have an option to put it on an endless amount of things. It's kind of similar to print on demand and drop shipping, where you're not having to print and ship on your own. I think the nice part that it almost is like the Etsy marketplace. So a random customer can go on and just start browsing for things and stumble across your design, which, unlike dropshipping, if you're not on Etsy, if say you just have your own website, you're not going to get that same benefit, okay? The only thing about these platforms, I don't know the exact profits on those. I will be researching that more, so hopefully I will have more information for that in the future if you're interested. Then the fifth option would be finding a supplier. So this is great if you're really wanting to expand your business big, but this requires quite the investment up front and quite a bit of research. All right, so let's start and dive into the drop shipping and print on demand aspect first. Like I said, this is the one that I use the most now, and I do have a Shopify website. I will link that in the comments below for you to check it out. I love the Shopify platform because while there is a monthly expense, it makes it so easy to do print on demand. And this is not even sponsored. This is just like years of experimenting and trying different things. So if y'all want to sponsor me and give me a little discount code for people, let me know. But so I use Shopify, and some of the main print on demand companies that I use are going to be Printful and Printify, which actually are some of the biggest ones. I have experimented with probably 6 or more different companies over the years, and these I've just found have been the most consistent. They have pretty quick shipping times. They have a very big catalog of products, and I feel that the quality is some of the best that I've found. I've experimented with others where I maybe liked different products that they had and that the print quality just wasn't great, for lack of better words. So dropshipping seems a little wild to get into if you haven't looked into it yet. Essentially what you're doing is having a website like Shopify, or you can literally put your products on Amazon if you really wanted to, although I don't recommend that because Amazon usually has very quick shipping times. And this print on demand process, they need to print your design, package it, and ship it out. So it's not gonna be like a 24-hour, 48-hour turnaround. So it's really great if you wanna use your own website platform. If you wanna sell on Etsy, a lot of people also do that. Platforms very similar to that would work great. Even like a big cartel would be fine if you just wanna start out and kind of see how that works. You can also integrate it into TikTok Shop now. So dropshipping is wild. There really is so many different avenues that you can go down, but in terms of the print on demand aspect, so you're going to want to create accounts with, say, Printful or Printify. And these companies, Printful and Printify, are some of the biggest ones. These companies are where you are uploading the designs. This is where you're looking at the catalog. This is where you're picking the t-shirts, the hoodie, the crew neck, the tote bags, the mugs, whatever it might be, rugs, blankets, yoga mats, pants. I don't know. It's honestly, there's endless options here, and that's what's cool. So the Printful and Printify companies, you go on and you're going to look through their catalog. Say you pick a basic Gildan t-shirt. So you're going to click on the t-shirt, and then it's going to show you different companies that can supply you this exact t-shirt. They're going to have different reviews on there and ratings, so you can check that out and see what you're comfortable with. They're all going to have various shipping times. They might even have different variables in terms of colors for the very same shirt. I kind of use the same couple companies within these specific platforms. One that I really like, if you're going to use Printful, would be SwiftPod. I like them a lot. I use them for most of my hoodies, crew necks, and Bella and Canvas t-shirts. So, you want to get samples of everything with the print on demand stuff because, again, you're not creating it yourself. So that's a big aspect of print on demand, is that you don't get that same quality control that you would if you were doing this on your own. Obviously, you would see exactly what the product looks like. You'd be able to package it and ship it yourself. So every single thing that I create, I pretty much get a sample for. Now that I'm consistently using, say that I'm using SwiftPod across the board and I've gotten multiple samples from them, you really know what to expect as long as they've been consistent. The only time that I would say to make sure that you're getting a sample is if you're doing something new. For example, if you're always getting t-shirts through one company on Printify, but these t-shirts are like a one color print, so a basic shirt with like black lettering or just white lettering or one color lettering all the time, and now you want to jump to a product that has gradients or that has like different combination of colors, 100% get the sample. 100%, because it's going to look different for each company that you use. So it's very important to do that. And I will say certain companies can't even really do gradients. I feel like it's Printful, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I am pretty positive Printful does not do gradients, or they didn't when I checked last. So it's good to have different suppliers. I personally started with using, one or two, and then realized, oh, I was a little bit limited with the products that I was offering, and other suppliers had like purses and the yoga mats and all over print blankets, all these different things. So I would look into these two basic companies to start, just because they do encompass a lot of products. And that way you can see what you like, see what sells, read reviews, experiment with pricing. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to go through an example and walk you through that process now. I'm going to be bringing you into the back end of just Printify. This is a common one that I use a lot. And you can literally just go to printify.com. This is just through my actual Shopify account. If you do use Shopify, then you can go ahead and just integrate the two, and it comes up on your main menu over here. Let's just do like a basic t-shirt. We're going to go to catalog. Then you can see there's a bunch of options here. They even go to bestsellers, new arrivals, eco-friendly, AOP, which is all over print. So if you want to do like patterns that cover an entire piece of clothing, they have a bunch of options for that. And then we can go through t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, blah, 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 blah. Then they also have a ton of accessories. They just started doing coffee and beauty, which is kind of interesting. Car accessories, like car mats, travel, luggage type things, swimwear. I mean, they really do have a lot. So I use them, like I said, for most of my things, although I do use 3 or so other providers. Do t-shirts. You can click your target market. Since I'm selling out of the US, there's certain products you won't be able to get. But anyways, so for t-shirts, you can sort by popularity, newest, low price, high price. I usually do popularity because then you're going to get a decent print quality, especially if you're just starting out. And I personally, for t-shirts, always go with the Bella and Canvas 3001. Gildan is also a pretty decent t-shirt. It's going to be a little bit stiffer, kind of your typical t-shirt. I'm sure if you don't know what a Gildan is, I don't know what to tell you, but the Bella and Canvas is a slightly thinner, softer, more comfortable t-shirt. I just feel like this is a better quality, so this is generally what I go for, even though the Gildan is going to be more cost effective. But then there's, a ton of other options. So it'll say the starting price, different amount of color options, and like I said, you're picking the print provider when you click on this. This has 13 different providers, 12, 8. So each provider is going to have their own set of colors. Some of them might have 5 colors, some might have 30 colors. It really just depends. Scroll through just to show you how many different t-shirts they have, and they'll show you the print area when you scroll over it. Some are going to be slightly smaller than others. Honestly, a lot of this is just kind of playing around. A V-neck. Why don't I use a V-neck? I'm going to have to explore that avenue. I'd be liking the V-necks, a little chest hair, pippy popping out. That's nice. Anyways, so they do have some Color Blast ones. These are newer. I actually just ordered a sample of one of these because I'm really excited to see what they look like. I'm all for something a little bit more unique, something different. The mineral wash is also kind of cool, but this is a pretty high price point because what you have to think about is you have to cover shipping as well. So how much are you really going to charge for a t-shirt? You can literally contact the supplier for these products on your own and order them in bulk and print on your own, and it would not be $15.79. But the whole point of the print on demand is you don't have to do all of that. They even have like a polo shirt. That's kind of cool. We're going to go up to, let's do the Bella and Canvas one because that is a really, really good one. Start designing or show additional providers. I like to do this. What provider is this? It's like I've never done this before. Showing the different. Okay, so I have Printify Premium also, which is $20 to $25 a month. So it does make my cost a little bit less, and that is worthwhile if you're going to be selling a decent amount for sure, because you're saving like $2 a shirt already. So I like to go down here. I have used Underground Threads. I recently just used Marco Fine Arts. They're good, so you can click on these and read the reviews if you want. But it's going to show you exactly how much you're going to pay for the shirt, how much you're going to pay for shipping, general production time, and then here you're going to see all the different color options. SwiftPod is one of my favorites, actually. I really like SwiftPod, and look at all the colors. And it can be hard to pick all the colors out, which is a good problem, right? And depending on your design, you know, certain things will look good and some won't. And they'll show you mock-ups of everything. So what I do generally is I order a sample of one of the colors. And the mock-ups are like pretty accurate. So just check every single color that you click. If you have a color design that you're putting on it, I would just check every single one, make sure you like it. I have not explored these other companies, to be honest with you. Haven't really felt the need to, but there's, I mean, look at how many. I know a lot of people actually use Monster Digital and like them a lot. Let's say we want to use this Underground Threads, okay? Just picking one random, don't at me about the price. And then each of the providers back there, yes, there are different costs, and naturally you're probably going to want to go to the lowest cost provider, but this print area can slightly differ for each provider. So I wouldn't necessarily just base it on cost. You want obviously good quality, good ratings, and then making sure that the print area is exactly what you want, okay? So my library of stuff. So let's throw something random. Let's do my Honey, I'm Spiraling. It's so aggressive big, a giant ham. So I would go ahead and kind of place it where I generally think I want it. Then you can just hit preview and you can see what it actually looks like. They have some cool photos. So you can download all of these once you go ahead and create the item. Then they have some with people. You can also go to placeit.net, and I think they'll have a link for that here. They do not. So placeit.net is where you can purchase mockups as well if you want something more specific or you don't want to take the photos yourself. Pretty low cost, so I want to say like $5 per image. Then go ahead and select variants. I'm not going to get as color crazy as if it were just black, but just see what it looks like on these different colors. That looks kind of crazy, but don't let this be your deciding factor. Always look at the preview. Still looks crazy. So yeah, we're probably not going to do that. The black, and it's all right. Like I said, this one is a weird color to work with, but it doesn't look too bad on the brown. It's not much contrast, but it looks better than it does here, you know? Let's just look at a few more. I would do like natural. I think I have this in. I have it in very muted colors, but just look at all these different colors just for fun. The turquoise is beautiful. They just have such good colors. I'd always look at the preview. Even that, I mean, it's kind of a random combo, but now I'm like considering going back and editing the one I made because I kind of like it with lilac. All right, so whatever, you go through here, you pick all these good things, have it where you want it. Obviously, you can fill it up to these parameters. Just make sure. A lot of my designs do fill this area. This is just like a way simplistic thing that I'm making. I gotta move this full screen. I don't think I can actually. I did the record area bad, but down here is a scaling tool. So you want to go ahead, bring it up close, use the hand, move it, and really just make sure none of your design, if it's, you don't even really want it touching this, like just barely touching it. You can go ahead too, let me take it off the hand, zoom back out. You can go ahead to click on your design and you can crop it like really, really tight to the image. If you do want to be able to blow it up to the edge because you filled to placeholder. Obviously it doesn't really work well with something like this. So you just want to go back, whatever. You can flip it, all this fun stuff. They have like a background remover. It works pretty decent if you do keep the white background. I would save your images as PNG without a background though, or transparent background. So then you're going to scroll down. You want to always check the resolution. Some things print fine in medium resolution. I would say if you're doing something that is not high resolution, is medium, like 100% get that sample, make sure it looks good. Then you're going to go to save products. Although I really don't want to save this, so I'm going to have to delete it. And then this is where you pick what your images are going to look like. So this is integrated to my Shopify. When you're on Printify, you know, I'm already set up, but you can integrate it to Etsy, different types of website platforms, whatever it might be. So essentially this is helping you decide what is showing up on your website, what is showing up on your Etsy, what is coming first. You might have all these different variants that you picked for shirts. I mean, these are awful examples, by the way, but say you have all these different variants. So which one do you want to show first? So you're going to click on the color first. Let's say we do natural. Then these are going to be what are downloaded. So you're just kind of picking what you want. I never show the back, obviously, unless there's something printed on it. So that's a no. This would probably be my first image. I like to keep it kind of simple so my website doesn't look overwhelming. I kind of also like this relaxed fit, but I find that not a lot of providers have this. So I would tend to do something that's going to be more consistent personally. And I love these, so cute. They have some with the hanger, some close-up, and some models. It really, there's so many options. I think they have, yeah, multiple people in photos. Or like I said, you could check out placeit.net. Then we come down here. So we don't want to list this on our website. So boring. I mean, who wants to buy this, right? So you put something cute. I put, honey, I'm spiraling. T-shirt. Great. All right, whatever. Even the description I would edit. So you put something personal or that's actually relative to what you're selling. This is very generic. And sometimes it'll even say something about, oh, this will print your image great, which isn't what your customer necessarily needs to see. That's more for you to see. So I would take, honestly, all this out and just come up with some description that you think is going to make people interested in your product. Then I keep some of these things sometimes down here. This to me seems irrelevant. That's going to be up to you. I do like this. Saying it's sustainable, all of that I think is really great. Tearaway label, blah, blah, blah. Then the fabric blends. So this I would always look at because you might not even be using these colors at all. Athletic heather and black heather. Did you even pick those variables? So take out anything you don't use. I do think it is nice to keep what the blends are, though. Some people really avoid polyester at all costs. You know, people can be particular about the type of fabric that they want, which is totally fine. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have this. I actually think it's great. Then the add size table to description. So wherever your cursor is where it's going to add it. So make sure it's at the bottom. I'll hit the return key and then add size table. So now people can go ahead and look at that. Then tags, you just want to pick basic tags. These are ones that I use. They might actually just come up automatically. And then if you want to add other keywords, then you're going to go down. There's different shipping options. I personally have so many different products in my store that I do a general shipping. I'm going to go down here. This is where you set your pricing. So all the different sizes. You could see by these that, I don't know what color it is. You could just click on it. You could see that one of the colors is not available. So not all the colors might be available in every single size, or they're just not in stock right now. So if they come back in stock, that'll show up for you. They automatically do that. So this is where you would set your retail price. So what you want to look at here is your cost, production cost, buyer shipping cost, okay? I pay for the premium, so these would be a little bit higher on your end because I pay that monthly fee to get them slightly cheaper. You would want to add these up and also take into consideration your other fees, right? You're not just going to add up, say 11, and we'll round for easy numbers, 11 and 6 is 17, and then say you put it at 25, you're not making $8 necessarily because Shopify is going to take a cut or Etsy is going to take a cut of every order that you make. I think for Etsy, you pay for listings. Per each listing, you pay a fee. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really use Etsy anymore. But with Shopify, I'm paying a monthly fee to use Shopify, a monthly fee for Printify Premium. So you really just want to make sure you're getting all of your costs integrated into that price, okay? So you don't get in any situation. I usually do for my t-shirts just like $30 across the board. You could do like 28, 30. I like to do it at a price where if I'm going to offer a discount, I'm not losing money. You want to make sure that you're setting it at a price where you could still offer discounts here and there if you choose to. You're covering the fees and whatever you're doing on the back end. And maybe some of you are paying for designs that you're using. Like I pay for Canva. All these little things I like to take into account. So I'll generally do $30, and you could just look at Etsy at people's different Shopify stores and see what they're charging. That's generally how I do it and base my pricing. So yeah, you would go ahead here and you have to change all these. You do 30, 30, whatever. You go through the whole list, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to come down. So only show in-stock variants, hide out of stock, of course. But that, like, you would not want to accept an order that they don't have in stock, because some things you have no idea when they're coming back. This is automatically selected for you, though. Then your collection. So I would choose clothing. Then I would hit publish. Boom. I'm not going to do that because this is not something I want to list. So I'm going to save as draft just to show you. And then it's going to save it under my products. And here's just like a, quick view of like all the different products that I have. So they're all listed here. So just for Printify, you can kind of just select. So I guess I do use a lot of different providers. So you can go ahead and select, oh, I just want to see the stuff I use from this company or whatever. I just want to see the stuff that's published or the things that are unpublished. Maybe I want to delete some things I'm not using. So I'm going to delete this because I'm not going to really use it. But that's generally how you'd go ahead and make a product. And then your wallet, you would have to set that up as well, which is all pretty straightforward. You're just putting in your credit card information or bank account information. So every time somebody makes a purchase, it's charging you immediately for the product cost. And then once it's processed, like usually 24 or so hours, you're getting the money back. You do have costs up front. So you can order samples as well. Up here you can do create order, manual order, bulk order, sample. Bulk I have not experimented with, to be honest. So bulk orders must consist of 60 units from the same provider. I wonder if they have to be the same color. So this is interesting. Please visit the bulk products catalog. So it's not going to be every single item that they have, of course, but some top trending products they'll show here, like desk mat, frame poster, best rated by merchants. So that's essentially how you would pick your products. With Shopify, I would go, if you're using this platform, over to product. I would find the product I just listed and just make sure that it's active and all the description is exactly what I want. So you can edit it through there too. You don't have to edit everything through here. So as you can see, there's a lot of different options with this. It can be a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but as long as you watch these tutorials and experiment a bit, it really becomes quite simple over time. And a lot of people use these companies and really enjoy working with them because you don't have to buy a bunch of stuff in bulk if you don't want to. They also have that option. So you can go ahead and order a big amount of things up front, sell them in person if you want to do markets, if you want to bring them in a store, anything like that. That's also an option. I just feel like for in bulk stuff, if you're going to sell anything in person, you're going to want to go the route of either creating it yourself or working with a local printer. If you want any more information on the dropshipping print on demand aspect, definitely let me know in the comments below. You can also check out my site and see the different products that I've used and that I like. Really have found to be very consistent. So if you're trying somebody new, always get a sample. Always get that sample. It also puts you ahead because then you can take those in-person photos and videos, which just help promote you, whether you're putting it on social media or sharing it on Pinterest, anything like that. If you're looking to do more in-person selling, or you want to have more of a hands-on experience, this could be for a variety of different reasons. You can create these products yourself. So we're going to get into that option. At home creation. Basically, this could be so many different things. This could be screen printing. This could be direct to garment, or you can order vinyl. You basically have a heat press, but a company takes the image that you send them and prints it on the vinyl. then you get that vinyl shipped to you and you just press it yourself. So you can have in stock in your space, if you have the space, a variety of different products, a variety of different pieces of apparel. And then when somebody places an order, you just pick from the vinyl that you have and you print it on there. Other types of printing you can do are relief printing, which is carving. This is very involved and hands-on, but produces a very beautiful effect. I did this a lot in college actually, and it's very cool and different. And then there's stuff like embroidery, cyanotype. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there's so many different methods of printing. I would say the most popular are going to be the screen printing, DTG, or DTF. I personally have tried screen printing so many times and I cannot perfect it. That's something that is not in my realm of expertise. It is nice to do the at-home portion of printing if you feel excited about it. If you feel this is something you want to do, because as the business is going to expand, as you get more orders, this is a very time-consuming aspect. This definitely keeps more money in your pocket. I will say that creating things on your own is going to keep a lot more money in your pocket. You're going to connect with companies like One Stop and different wholesalers of blanks. So you just want to Google blanks and you'll find a bunch of different companies that offer literally just blank t-shirts, blank tank tops, blank crew necks, blank hoodies, blank everything. And this is going to give you a much bigger catalog of things versus the print on demand route. You can just go ahead and order through these companies and they're at very low cost. So with these companies, in most cases, you're going to have to upload your business information, your EIN number, a copy of your sales tax form, stuff like that. But then you're getting insanely discounted products. I'm talking like t-shirts for like $3. Way more options. So kind of more unique pieces, different types of tie-dye, acid wash, raglans, like jersey tees, crops, all sorts of stuff. They don't really have like crop tops with a lot of these print-on-demand companies. They don't really have a lot of these like unique pieces. They are adding more on. As these companies grow, depending when you watch this video, they're going to continue to add stuff on. So it just depends what you want to do. The at-home stuff, I personally do not have the space for. I'm in my studio right now. I love to paint. That's such a priority for me. I just don't really have the space for a press. If I did, and if I happen to get it, I 100% do want to get one. I would personally be getting a heat press, and the one that I would want is like 16 by 20. So these are like pretty heavy machines. I would want to be able to have that set up all the time because it just streamlines the process, right? If you don't have the space and you're constantly having to set something up and it's unorganized, it's just going to be frustrating and not work as well. So the at-home process, you just have to think about the space that you have, the circumstances that you're in. Do you want to, buy certain products up front? Like I said, it's definitely, in my opinion, more cost effective. But some people don't want to go through the headache of printing things. So think about what gets you excited and experiment a little bit. Some people get so excited about embroidery, for example. They just want to get an embroidery machine and create designs that way. And maybe then they're also using either a local company or print on demand for some other designs that they don't want to embroider, that they don't want to take on themselves. And that's the great part, is you can implement a bunch of these across the board. Another thing to think about, if you're going to create things at home, you're obviously going to need the materials for whatever processes that you want to do. You're going to need the products, and then you're going to need packaging and shipping materials. You also might want a printer for shipping labels. I use Shippo for a lot of shipping services myself. It is a free service online where you just input addresses and the product weight and description, paying for the label right then and there. And then I honestly just print it through my printer. I don't do enough stuff at home personally, like at all, that I felt that it's necessary at this point in time to get an actual label printer. That's something that you can kind of decide as you go. If I actually were to get a heat press and start creating shirts at home, then for sure you're gonna probably want a label maker and consistent packaging across the board. So these are just a couple things to keep in mind. So option 3 is going to be using a local printer in your area. This was like my very first and honestly ideal method for a very long time. I'm originally from Connecticut, and I had a couple different printers that I had used out there over the years that I really loved. I feel like it's a great cost-effective method. You do, yes, have to buy things in bulk, but also if you're screen printing, you can usually just pay for the design on a screen one time. And then from there, the actual product per product is not crazy at all. It's definitely cheaper than a print on demand option. But again, you are fronting that money up front and probably buying in bulk. So do you have somewhere to store these things? Do you have the demand? What I would generally do for something like this, and what I would like to do when I can find a good printer again near me, is to almost do like a pre-order situation. So I would pick a piece of apparel once I knew the design that I wanted to have. Then I would get a quote from the printer, and I would base this off like 20, 50, 75 pieces of clothing, whatever it might be, and get quotes for that, because normally the more you buy, it's a lesser price. It really just depends on who you're working with. And then I would put it up on my socials, my website, whatever, and be like, this is a pre-order item, order, and you get a discounted price. I love doing that. Sometimes, honestly, I would do like order the next 48 hours, because obviously I'm not going to have these people like sit around and wait. But then say I get like 20 orders right off the bat. That in a lot of cases covers a bigger bulk order. So now I have a better idea of like what I can spend, what people are interested in right away. And you can just do pre-order stuff if you want to keep it that way, if you're trying to like work with a tighter budget. But I really do like working with a smaller local business too, because obviously it supports a small business, which is always great. Rather than supporting like a larger company overseas or something like that. My main issue and why I don't necessarily utilize it much now is that I moved. I tried, I think, 4 or 5 different local printers for apparel, and it was just not working out for me. I wasn't getting any responses back, or it'd be like a month later. Can't wait a month. Like, this is taking so long. And other people have had great success. So I just took it as a sign to try and explore something else. And that's when I got into drop shipping, which I'm really, really happy that I did learn about drop shipping and print on demand. So I think there was a reason that it wasn't working out for me. However, I do think it is one of the best options, and I would like to continue to go that route and support somebody local, support a small business. It's also nice too to actually build that relationship with somebody in a small business, which is obviously not going to happen with print on demand. So having that small business connection and being able to reach back out and kind of build trust with somebody is really a beautiful thing. So I do recommend that, especially if you don't want to be like creating and printing your own things, or you have no idea how to even start that. Like I said, it really is pretty cost effective. They can give you pricing up front for different quantities and what you're looking for. The other option that I was talking about was threadless. Like I said, this is not something I have personally used, but I've seen a lot of creatives use platforms just like this. It is a little different than print on demand. Well, it's very similar in a lot of ways because they're fulfilling for you based on the designs that you upload. So you're not having to buy, the inventory. You're not needing to print anything yourself. You don't have to ship, package anything on your own. They're doing all that for you. I think the big difference with threadless is that it's not your own website, so you're going to be through the threadless platform, which is a benefit too sometimes, because that's like a marketplace just like Etsy. So people can just go on there and look for random designs and then come across your work, and now you have somebody that's interested in you without even like coming from your socials. It's just like another way to find your work. I don't really have experience with threadless. I've looked into it over the years, and it has piqued my interest. I don't know the exact price points, but it seems very easy to work with, and it's something I am going to look into more. But I would recommend looking into that a bit if you're wanting to not have to get products, not have to spend much up front, and have them kind of streamline the process for you. And one of the last methods that I'm going to mention is outsourcing and getting your own supplier. So this is going to be different than print on demand because you're going to be specifically finding a supplier of a product ordering a sample that's usually pretty costly, and then having them make a large quantity. So this is not something for like 20, 30 shirts, right? These companies usually have much larger quantity minimums. Like for example, you can go on Google, and then I think it's Import Yeti, and you can search different brands and the suppliers that they use. Whatever, branding company that you like, their supplier. So you would want to do this route if you have scale to the point where it's hard to manage your business, if you want more customizations than like the print on demand will offer you. Because with a supplier, this is not just like, oh, they're going to take a design you have and print it on a t-shirt. Finding a supplier is more so like designing the literal hoodie, designing the literal t-shirt in terms of style, sizing, shape, all that stuff. It's more of a customizable route. So like really trying to create a legit brand, a large brand that's more than just graphic tees and prints, like your art, basically your graphics, your logos, whatever, on basic blanks. This process I do not do myself, as my brand is not nearly that big, nor does it really fit what I'm doing. I'm just really putting like my artwork, my slogans, and random designs on basic apparel. It's not like I'm looking to design a specific dress, a unique hoodie and style. So that is where you would kind of go that route. What I have seen going the supplier route is that the samples are going to be a little bit more costly because their minimums are so high. If you're just wanting to get a sample of like one hoodie, I've seen people spend like $200-$300. So that's great if you're going to go ahead and order, 1,000 or 2,000 items, and you know that they're going to be perfect and exactly what you want, and you have the following to support that, right? You have the customer base to support that. So this isn't necessarily something that I would recommend jumping into, even if you had the money right off the rip. Like this would not be like step one for me. You really want to start experimenting with some of these other methods that I brought up, which is why I left this last. This is more like scalability, and I feel like it's kind of nice to know about in the beginning, because if this is your long-term vision, now you kind of know what it entails, right? You know that there's a specific minimum, and every supplier is going to be different. So I would definitely recommend looking into that if that's something you're interested in, and figuring out what exactly do I want to design long term? Like, what do I envision my branding is going to be like? What suppliers do I want to work with, and what style? There's so many options. There's so many suppliers. You can also find them on Instagram, TikTok, like honestly anywhere these days. And I will also link below links for sites where you can look up people's suppliers. So let's break down pricing. The most cost-effective options are going to be using platforms like threadless or doing print on demand. It's not going to be quite as much profit, but it's not going to be as much money up front. Yeah, if you're looking to make more money off the products, then I would go with printing them yourself or finding a local printer to do that. And the most profit would be likely the supplier, like I said, where you are ordering in bulk, a much higher quantity, but that's not really a starting experience. That's more so as you develop and go. So cost-wise, if you're looking to keep the cost very low, I would look into the print on demand or using a company like Threadless. What I will say too with print on demand, you have to pay when somebody places the order right away for what they're ordering. And then once that gets processed, then you get your payout. So there definitely is some money coming out of your pocket. It's not just like they cover it all and you get the remaining profit. You do have to pay for it right when the order comes in, and then you get payback once that processes, usually like 24 or so hours, 48 maybe. So I personally put it on a credit card that I have that has a higher limit. That way I don't have to worry about, oh my God, if I get this influx of orders, do I have enough in my checking account? It's just always going to be something that's not a problem. Another thing that we want to consider is the space and the circumstances that we are in. Do we have a space to hold product? Do we have a space to actually print things ourselves and hold product? Do we have a very small space where we can't really accommodate for this? Do we need to kind of stick with drop shipping? So what is your environment like? How easy would it be for you to experiment and implement these different ideas with the room that you have. How could you evolve long term, right? Other people eventually get retail spaces or warehouses to hold more product as their company grows, as their clothing line grows. So it really just depends on the vision that you have for it. You know, some people just want to do this kind of for fun, or just as another way to offer their artwork, a way to make like a little bit of extra income, have a little side hustle. And other people really want to build this giant brand out of it. So it really just depends on your goals. I would say, you know, even if you have this massive goal of someday being in a warehouse, you know, really selling such a large quantity of product, you can still start in a small space, right? Look at your space right now and what could be available to you, what you could potentially do, because we don't want to wait for these perfect and ideal conditions to start something, because then we're never going to start. So start with what you have. That's why, like I said, I don't print in my tiny space. As my space evolves and I get a slightly bigger studio, then definitely I would go into printing in my space and grow from there. Such a big thing too, with all these different options, it can be overwhelming. So I would say follow your excitement, especially in the beginning. You should be doing this because you're excited or it lights you up in some way. If you're jumping into it just to straight up make money, like, you're probably not gonna have that much fun with it, and you are more likely to burn out. So if one type of printing feels very exciting to you, if printing your own stuff and trying that out feels very exciting, then I would 100% recommend following that excitement. That's just gonna, and that creativity is gonna help give you fuel to, you know, create this vision that you have for yourself. And if you don't feel excited about what you're doing or the method or way that you want to do it, what's going to keep you motivated, right? So follow that excitement. You don't necessarily have to take what I do or somebody else does. That's why I want to give you all these different options, because there really are so many different routes. There's probably so many other platforms and ways of doing this that I haven't even mentioned. So this is just to give you a broad idea of different routes you can go down. Definitely think about your audience with all of this. You don't have to be a marketing master, but who are you trying to sell to? Who is already your audience? If you have some sort of following, if you have people that are connected to you online already, what is the demographic? Or what type of people are you trying to reach? What type of people want to buy from you, want to connect with you? What type of people are reaching out to you? You always want to keep that in the back of your mind when you're making certain collections, because otherwise it gets kind of scattered. I started out putting my art on stuff, which was fine. And then I really wanted to evolve it more into who am I selling to and what do they want to wear, right? So thinking more in terms of marketing and not just in terms of art, because not all art also looks very amazing on all apparel, or not all art people want to wear, right? So think of your audience, think of what they're literally buying right now. You can even go on popular websites and see like best-selling t-shirts, the best-selling hoodies, the best-selling designs. I use Pinterest a lot. I looked at a lot of like saved boards and popular items. Kind of get an idea like what is trending right now. What are people looking into? Obviously, you want your designs and your brand to be something you're excited about and something that's true to you. But if stuff isn't selling, you do want to look at what is selling and what's marketable and maybe adjust some things, right? At the end of the day, if you're going into this wanting to make some money, which I'm sure that you are, because that's why you're watching this video, we want to know our audience. We want to know what they're buying. We want to know what they're interested in, and not just be like using the spaghetti method, which is throwing something at the wall and hoping that it sticks. One of the last points I wanted to bring up was, how are you selling these things? What methods are you using to reach this target audience? Are you leveraging your social media? Are you going to have a website or no? Maybe you're going to use something like Big Cartel where you can list a few items for free. Maybe you're going to invest in something like Shopify where you have to pay monthly. Or maybe you're just like selling through your Instagram in the beginning. I don't really know. You could be on TikTok Shop. There's so many different ways online to be selling stuff. So really think about what makes sense for you. Also selling on Etsy. Like Etsy, I think, is a great platform. There are like small fees, but it's not as intense as like a Shopify. And at the same time, it's not your own website. So it's really what matters to you. Personally, I wanted my own website because I have more than just my apparel. I have like multiple different things. So an Etsy alone didn't really make sense for me and what I was doing. but that might be enough for you, right? Or like the big cartel or whatever. Then there's in person. So do you want to try to sell stuff at like markets and different events? You could even potentially sell wholesale to stores, like a local store, whatever it might be. There's a lot of different methods of doing this. If you want to do stuff in person, that will probably dictate like the type of products that you're buying. And also you might have to have like more in person, obviously, right? You're gonna have to have stuff in your actual house ready to go if you're trying to do a bunch of markets, which you could still do with print on demand, just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Like, how are you promoting this? And maybe you're using all sorts of different methods and trying to figure out what works for you, and that's totally fine too, because I have definitely tried out a bunch of different ones. You could also use affiliate type of promotion, so using different influencers to promote your products. I know through TikTok Shop, they have like an actual program where you can easily message different influencers who already promote certain products and connect with them, offer them commission rates, stuff like that. The other people that you can just reach out to directly on other social platforms and see if they have fees for putting this sort of stuff out there. Like, if they're gonna make an ad for you, obviously you're gonna have to pay for it, but this can have a great reach depending on the person, and again, depending on the demographic. Does this person's audience correlate to the audience that you're trying to sell to? Because if so, it might be worth the spend, honey. I don't know. You gotta figure that out for yourself. What feels true to you and what feels true to your brand. And then overall marketing, right? Are we going to be running ads? Are they going to be on social media, Google ads, whatever? Do you want to outsource that part of it? Because I don't really love the marketing part of it. You can go on Fiverr. You can hire somebody to help you with marketing, to help you with ads at a low cost. Fiverr is so good for stuff like that. It's basically just a platform where there's a bunch of creatives and entrepreneurs that for hire. People that can do your logos if you need a logo for the clothing brand. People that, like I said, can help you with ads, marketing. They can even put together videos like this and make them look even cuter. So there's literally a person for everything. I know this is a ton of information, but I hope that this can help you out. And I feel like I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to go over. The main modes of creating the apparel, creating the t-shirt brand, whatever it is, would be the drop shipping and print on demand. Then printing yourself at home, whatever the method might be. Printing with a local printer and buying up front in bulk, or doing like a third party thing like threadless. And last but not least, finding a supplier and buying larger quantities for a cheaper price. But that is going to be way more upfront, right? So that's not necessarily like step number one. But anyways, I hope these help you. And if you want any more info or me to kind of like dive deeper into any of these, definitely let me know. Dropshipping is so vast and goes way beyond print on demand too. And it's something I've been looking into for a couple of years now, on and off. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. So it does get a little overwhelming, but I hope that this kind of give you an idea of where you're at and what is possible for you next step. And if you love this content, be sure to hit that like button, share, comment below, all those beautiful things so I can continue to bring you some free goodies.